Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Nick and I don't listen to K-pop, but I do listen to KATSEYE. It's really funny, I was struggling so hard to figure out like a topic for today's video, and then Sophia from KATSEYE went on hiatus, so I was like, okay, well then. I have an entire video on KATSEYE, so check that out if you haven't. But long story short, I've been a fan since debut. I stuck with them through Gnarly, I came to love Internet Girl, and I love Pinky Up First Listen. Sorry. The entire situation around Mano's hiatus made me more wary of the company that I already was, so I've still been supporting them, but just from afar. Then their most recent single, Animal, came out, and even though it's like a nothing burger of a song, it's at least listenable. So I started to have hope. I was like, maybe they're finally gonna let these girls sing. Maybe soon in the future they'll let them write their own songs. I mean, they let Ed Sheeran write the last one, so why not them? And then Sophia went on hiatus. Yay! That's sarcastic, obviously. I understand that she's sick and she needs to heal, and that's totally fine. I think that she should take all the time that she needs. And that's not at all what I'm upset about. I am upset about the company that has let things get this far. I mean, these girls have literally been sick for years, and everything now is just like piling up, and it's just making it so much harder to ignore. Now, what started my entire need to share this rant was this picture. Yeah, I saw this picture on Instagram and I just got like infuriated, which I know is not the correct response, but that's how I felt. Because the picture has 7 girls total. It has 4 from KATSEYE and 3 from Saint Satine. It was supposed to be 10. So a little bit of background on Saint Satine, just in case, you know, you've never heard of the group. It's another international girl group formed by Hybe and Geffen as a sister group to KATSEYE, and it was built around 3 members of Dream Academy, the survival show that built KATSEYE. The girls in Saint Satine didn't make it into KATSEYE, but they were given like basically a second chance. Aside from Lexi, who probably would have made it into KATSEYE, but she quit early because she didn't agree with the direction of the company after they switched from like a more training and development model to a survival show without warning. The girls have said before that they like asked if it was going to be a survival show, and the company like denied it. Like they kept saying like, oh no, trust, it's not gonna be a survival show, and then all of a sudden they made it a survival show, which is so shady. What they did was awful, and Lexi's decision to leave was completely justified. When the project for Saint Satine was first like introduced, a lot of people kept calling them like KATSEYE rejects, which I don't think is fair, because these girls, you know, Samara, Lexi, Emily, they were so talented. We even saw that in like Dream Academy and their Netflix documentary Popstar Academy. These girls went through so much, and honestly they are such talented performers. It's not that they weren't good enough to make it into KATSEYE, it's just that they weren't right for the concept. You know, they wanted to find like the 6 pieces that fit the best together, and those 3 just didn't fit into the puzzle, but that doesn't mean that they're bad necessarily. And because they were so good, Hybe and Geffen knew that they wanted to do something else with these girls. Since they already spent so much time and money and effort training them, they were like, fine, we'll give you another group. So now Saint Satine, or Prelude as it was called then, had to find their final member, or their final piece as it was advertised. Hybe and Geffen decided that the final member had to be Japanese, which I don't really know why. I'm sure they had a reason. I think they were trying to like venture out more into like Japanese markets or something, but I don't know. So they did an entire survival show to find their final piece, which I didn't watch because personally I wasn't too invested in it. There was already so much stuff going on with KATSEYE. I was like, I can only take so much BS from Hybe at one time. So then the finale aired and they finally revealed their final piece for the group, and then everybody cared, because out of the 2 finalists there was Sakura and Ayana. Ayana was the overwhelming public choice, but they chose Sakura. Sakura had overall like much less experience. She had less developed skill in like singing and dancing, and she was multiple years younger than the other girls in the group. It really didn't make sense to choose her over Ayana, who had been a trainee for multiple years and fit right in with the other girls like concept or age-wise. I heard some people saying that the reason why they didn't choose Ayana was because she looked too similar to Lexi, and I was like, okay, then dye her hair red. Like, what? If they were just like looking at the 2 girls' profiles and saying they look too similar, a hair change would have fixed everything. Or just give her a haircut or something. Like, just do something with her hair. It would have made it so much easier. I didn't think they looked anything alike, but I don't know. Some people like to compare Sakura's selection to Manon's from like Dream Academy because they try and say, oh, Hybe really likes to choose like the inexperienced underdogs that they can show like a zero to hero sort of story. But the difference there is that Manon was easily able to keep up with the other girls in the performances. You know, she obviously wasn't like as good a dancer as Danny or as strong a singer as Sophia, but she was definitely able to hold her own. She didn't like stick out like a sore thumb in their performances. Like if you ask somebody of like the general public to watch the Buttons performance video and pick out the one person with like no prior singing or dance training, I don't think that they would choose Manon first. Also, she was definitely a fan favorite. I mean, she ranked very highly among all of the girls when it came to like public opinion. Whereas in Prelude, Sakura like visibly lagged behind the other girls in terms of skill. Again, to be expected because she was younger and didn't have as much experience, so obviously none of this is on her. She didn't even really seem like ready by the time that she was chosen, so a lot of people assumed that Son, who's like the Hybe executive who was basically in charge of selection for the group, he must have had some kind of soft spot for her, or he just like really wanted to see her succeed in the group. I don't know. In any case, it was most likely bias. Also, in the creation of Saint Satine, they took out the element of fan voting that they had for KATSEYE's creation, because I guess they didn't want the public to have any sort of sway over the final lineup. And the finale was filmed like, I think like a month before it actually aired, so we weren't even seeing things on like a realistic timeline. So now, a few months after Sakura was chosen as the final member for newly announced Saint Satine, Lexi left the project. Again, this time a lot of people are speculating that based on her release statement and Hybe and Geffen's, Lexi must have been promised a more mature concept when she was recruited to join. And then after Sakura was chosen, they had to change that idea, obviously, because now there's a minor in the group. Which, like, good on them for protecting Sakura, I guess. I mean, that's kind of the bare minimum, but I don't know. Although if you guys already had a concept pitched to your members, like Ayana was right there. I saw a lot of people applauding Lexi for like having boundaries and standing her ground, and I totally agree with that if there was like some sort of breach of contract involved. But at the same time, I feel like we can't really make any like concrete sort of claims because we don't know entirely what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe she just didn't want to be in the group anymore because of Sakura's age or skill set or something like that, which would not only be like disappointing but also a little bit disrespectful to the team that she was leaving behind, as like they were kind of counting on her. Like I completely understand having standards, having boundaries, but like professionalism is also a game of give and take. Like give Sakura time to adjust, give her time to improve. Also, the group, like Saint Satine, was literally like built around Lexi and her image and stuff. Like she was supposed to be the visual and now she's gone. So like that's kind of funny. And it's because Hybe wanted her so badly after she left Dream Academy that they like made a whole other group centered around her. But then again, you know, we really can't make claims, like I said, if we don't have all the evidence. It's looking more like there was some kind of breach of contract included if she was able to just like dip like that. So in that case, good for her, you know? Like, if that's not what she signed up for, she shouldn't be obligated to stay. I know some people were pretty suspicious of Lexi for coming back to Hybe after very, like, decidedly leaving Dream Academy and, like, cutting it off entirely. But like, I get it, you know, before she left because she wasn't a fan of being forced to compete against her friends and like how they pulled the rug out from under them and just expected them to roll with it. And this situation with Saint Satine was different. She was automatically in the group, everything was laid out in advance. Kind of. But then the argument was like she still went back to Hybe after they were ultimately the ones who made all those like shady decisions during Dream Academy. So like if they did it once, who's to say they're not going to do it again? And I'm not trying to say that, you know, it's her fault or like she's in the wrong for going back or anything. I just think it's kind of funny because like she literally gave them a second chance and then still dipped. Like not much has really changed about the group from my perspective. I went into it fully expecting to like support pretty much only Emily. After Lexi's like Sid the Sloth comment, I was like, I don't know. So yeah, I'm Team Emily. And now here we are, like a week or so after Hybe announced Sophia's hiatus from KATSEYE to focus on her mental health and well-being. Does that sound familiar? But the thing is this really isn't the same as Manon's hiatus because in Hybe x Geffen's official announcement, they said that they were going to check back in with us during September to give us like an update on Sophia's status. They did not say any of that for Manon, and they continued to not say anything about her. In their like hinterland performances and their Head in the Cloud performances, they left a space in the choreography for Sophia, which they didn't do for Manon. They closed her spot pretty quick. And they openly like mentioned Sophia's name on stage, and we all know they are like not allowed to talk about Manon. Manon is like a Voldemort for them. Like they have them so silenced about her, it's not even funny.
I love it so much. Say hi to Manon.
And the sad thing is we're not even gonna get Sophia's like super polished PR answers anymore because she's not even there. They're probably just gonna give them to Lara. I've seen she's been answering a lot of questions lately. But like where we are right now, like this is such a mess. This is such a mess. Now we have a 6-person group going on a world tour with only 4 people. They're missing their main visual and their leader. We've got a dancer, a singer, and 2 all-rounders. I would argue that Yoonchae is like actually the all-rounder of the group. I would say Megan is more of a dancer, but that's just me. And so many people critiqued KATSEYE's status as like a global girl group when it was just 4 Asians and a white Latina, and now that they're 3 Asians and a white Latina, that's not much better. They lost all of their like European and African representation with Manon, and they lost their Southeast Asian representation with Sophia. So now we still have East Asia, South Asia, and Latin America represented, kind of. And that's just ethnically. And obviously I divided Asia into subregions because Asia is a really big continent. There's a ton of different people and culture and languages there. So, you know, obviously one person can't represent an entire continent. Just like I don't think Manon can adequately represent all of Europe or all of Africa, but that's pretty much all we got. Also, nationality wise, 3 of the remaining 4 members are American. So that's definitely global. And it's so funny because at this point I consider myself like KATSEYE's biggest fan and biggest hater, because it's like I want the girls to succeed so bad. I want them to achieve their dreams, but HYBE just needs to get shut down expeditiously. It wrap it up. Like it's tough because I want the girls to go on and be able to do great things like on their own, but I really want for the group to fail to teach HYBE a lesson. That rage bait marketing ultimately doesn't work. It gives you that like short boost of virality, but it's not, you know, sustainable. And also working your group members to the bone probably isn't the best way to promote longevity. Crazy concept, I know. Literally since their debut, the KATSEYE girls have constantly been dealing with like sickness or injury. I mean, think about all the times that a member has been missing from some like important video or event or interview or something. I mean, literally just from like a YouTube perspective, you've got Megan's hiatus right after debut. You have Danny missing the debut performance video, Manon missing from the Gabriella performance video, Lara having an adapted role in the Game Boy music video because she was injured, and now Sophia missing Hinterland and Head in the Clouds. Their first big headline performances. Not to mention any time that somebody's been out for like a quick performance due to, you know, a sprained ankle or a bad back or something like that. Or even Danny's leg injury that she's been dealing with for like forever now. I honestly don't know if Yoonchae's ever missed something. Like I'm sure she has. It's been almost 2 years now, but I don't know. Nothing was coming to me like off the top of my head. But in all, this has to stop. Okay, we need to let these girls rest. I remember Yoonchae said something before about like 14-hour work days, which is insane. For perspective, that's like working from 8 a.m. to like 10 p.m. That's insane. That's crazy. Nobody should be working those kinds of hours, especially if we know they're usually doing like dance rehearsals, which can be pretty intensive and take a massive toll on the body. I sincerely hope that the same does not happen to Saint Satine and nobody ever has to like miss a performance and then they only have to perform with 2 members. That would be so bad. And all of this overworking just leads me to believe one thing. I've seen some people on TikTok point out that literally every single month this year, somebody from a HYBE managed group has either been kicked out of their group, has left their group, has been put on hiatus, just something. Like literally every single month. Like this is insane. And it just shows that if the same thing is happening across like so many different groups under HYBE, then like HYBE might be the problem. Or even like, I'm sure this is happening with other K-pop companies. I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. And in that case, that would be the K-pop industry that's an issue. Normalizing 14-hour work days to rehearse the same 5 songs over and over again. And for context, let's look at a bunch of girls who have started out from the same place in Dream Academy. You've got the KATSEYE girls, the Satine girls, and some of the other girls that just went solo, did their own thing. Obviously, like the biggest mentions that I can bring up of girls who went solo would be Adela and Carly. Like they are by far the biggest soloists to come out of Dream Academy. Adela just performed at Lollapalooza and she literally opened for Demi Lovato on tour. Like that's insane. She has 8 million monthly listeners on Spotify, 72 million streams on Superstar, which I'm pretty sure was her debut single, and she is making moves in the industry. I've seen people say that she is like single-handedly reviving pop and like bringing back pop with like an actual personal meaning and not just overly manufactured slop. She has a super strong international fan base, as she is from Slovakia herself, I believe, and a strong international audience, which is something that not all artists in America can say that they genuinely cater to. Like how awesome is that? I'm so happy for her. Carly's doing her own thing too. Her song Right Back, which is an earworm that I can't say I love, has like 26 million streams on Spotify. She's got over 2 million monthly listeners, and she has a little TikTok trend too. Now, obviously those numbers aren't going to be as high as KATSEYE's because they don't have industry giants like Hybe and Geffen behind them, but that doesn't matter. They're doing so great on their own, and like that's the point. They're able to be so unapologetically themselves in their creative works, which is something that, you know, a lot of the Hybe girls can't necessarily relate to. Adela never would have been able to reach this potential under KATSEYE because they would have kept her in a little like marketable box. Her music and her visuals are so like emotionally jarring, and that's what makes it so incredible. It has her DNA written all over it, unlike KATSEYE, which really has no distinct like sound or soul. Again, not digging on the girls, digging on the company that manages them. And as far as I know, Carly is an independent artist, so she has, you know, so much freedom to explore everything that she wants to do without Hybe execs breathing down her neck. So hopefully those girls can, you know, take a break from the industry when they need it. They can take a step back, rest, relax, unlike this corporate machine that just keeps like pushing the KATSEYE girls until they break. I don't really want to engage in the rumors of like all the KATSEYE girls being bullies because, you know, drowned out conversations and ambiguous looks don't really tell us much about how they act when the cameras stop rolling. I don't know if they bullied Manon out of the group. I don't know if Sophia got kicked out because she stood up for Manon. I can tell for a fact though that their hiatuses are so different. Manon is more than likely at this point not coming back to the group, but I'm pretty sure that they just have her under contract, maybe the Matrix one, and so they're not allowed to like publicly let her exit the group because, you know, she can't. But I cannot wait until she's free of them and she can spill all the tea. She can tell us everything that happened. Give her a Netflix documentary stat. And even, you know, the fact that her personal friends were being weird under KATSEYE's birthday post for her, like something's definitely going on there. It's not a health hiatus. We all know that. She was on like Germany's Next Top Model as a judge. Like she's okay. I feel a lot more confident that Sophia's coming back because genuinely they need her now more than ever. KATSEYE already look kind of like strange with 5 members and they don't look good at all with 4. Like maybe if they debuted as 4 it would be whatever, but it's the fact that we're so used to seeing like even the gnarly choreography with 6 people. Think like the gang 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 move where they all like go in that like diagonal line. It looks so bad with just 4 people. I'm like, where is everybody? Plus Sophia was in all of the promotional stuff for their upcoming EP Wild. They didn't blur her out or reshoot anything, so that leads me to believe that she is expected to come back. And with Saint Satine, I honestly wouldn't mind if they tried to find like a 4th member to fill the spot that Lexi left. It would round out the 4 girls look that they've been aiming for, but maybe they'll just stick with 3. I don't know. It just sucks because like I said, like if one girl is out, pretty much the entire group is. It's hard to adapt like a 3-member thing just for 2. That's not really a group then, that's just a duo. And that's really not good for reliability, like for booking performances and stuff. That'll probably make them overwork the girls even more since they can't risk having even like one girl out. You'd think it would make them more like conscious of the girls' well-being, but this is capitalism we're talking about, okay? Rest days have no place in a 7-day work week or 14-hour work days. Overall, Hybe Geffen is again found at the scene of the crime, the root of all evil. And I guess all that this has shown us is KATSEYE really is a sisterhood in sickness and in health. I guess. I really want to see where they go at this point. Honestly, I'm really hoping that Manon gets to do her own thing and be freed from the shackles of Hybe X Geffen. She deserves so much more, and I would love for her to get to explore the world creatively because we know that she has so much to offer. I hope Lexi goes on to do great things independently. We know she's never touching Hybe and Geffen ever again. And I hope that the rest of the Saint Satine girls have a great debut and they can actually achieve some kind of sisterhood because I mean they do look really cute together and they look really happy in all of their posts. I'm excited to see where they go and how their concept leads them. I don't really know what else there is to say, but I don't have an outro, so bye.